Hello? It's time to film another Cornertwist video? I got you. Close my door because my cat is lying in front of it. Hello everyone, welcome back to Cornertwist and to the series class of Sub 20, where I will be teaching you how to be Sub 20 as fast as possible. That is the goal. If you are new here, I would like to welcome you as well as tell you what this channel is all about. As you've probably gathered, we're here to make you Sub 20, and the way that we do that is we make videos that build upon the previous videos. So if you have not checked those out, I highly recommend that you do so, as it will be very beneficial to you. But today we have another practice that we're going to be implementing, and this one is a little bit different than blind solving practice. Within today's practice, its sole purpose is to help you become better at look ahead. And it just so happens that I've named this practice Look Ahead Practice. So, without further ado, we're going to look at it. So as a short little recap, I'm going to go over what we did in the blind solving practice. In blind solving practice, we did two main things. One of those was closing our eyes for most of the solve to see how much we could get away with not looking at the cube as we solved it. It's also to help you become faster in your finger tricks regarding F2L and your last layer. The way it would work is you would go through every step of CFOP, you would plan each step and then try to execute it without looking as much as possible. So for the very first step, you would try to find all your crosspiece edges. Once you find them, then you would of course close your eyes, put it in, and then from here you would open them again with a solved cross, hopefully. Then from here you would try to locate two corresponding edge and corner pieces, such as these two. Plan out how to pair them in your mind and then try to execute them without looking. And if you have been implementing that practice, make sure that you're solving these cases as quickly as you can. Then you would repeat this process through all of F2L. And then you would come to your last layer, and we haven't really gone over OLLs yet, so you're still doing 2-look, but you would just close your eyes for the first step of 2-look. Then once you get here, then you would recognize the next pattern and then close your eyes and do that one again. Then you would come to PLL, and normally you would have a pattern here that you'd have to recognize and then put in the algorithm for it, and you would do that with your eyes closed. But luckily for you, you're a Cornertwist subscriber and you don't have to do PLLs anymore. You just get skips all the time. Subscribe, don't press like, thank you. So yeah, pretty straightforward practice with easily understandable goals that we're shooting for. But now let's compare it to the practice that we're going to be looking at today, the look ahead practice. First of all, the goal for look ahead practice is simply look ahead. We want to make sure that we strengthen that skill so that we were able to apply it when we are solving. With that being said, let's start from square one, the cross, and see how it differs to blind solving practice. In blind solving practice, normally we would find our edge piece to our cross. We would come up with a cross solution, but then we would input it without looking. Now the first step is going to be the same. You're still going to plan out the cross, and then you are going to input the cross, but the first major difference we're going to look at is that, first of all, you're going to be looking at the cube. So you're going to input your cross solution while looking at it, but there's going to be something going on while we do this. I'm going to show you how not to do it real quick. So we have our cross solution. These two are in place relative to each other. I'm just going to put in this green relative to blue, and then slide in this red with a piggyback, and then align the whole D layer with a D prime move. Pretty simple cross solution. So basically this goes down, this follows it, goes here, and then the whole D layer moves. But now I'm going to demonstrate how not to do this cross solution. So starting right here, I'm just going to slide this piece down, and I'm going to watch this go here, and then I'm going to look at this one and watch it go here. And then I'm going to just look at, I don't know, cross itself as it goes in. Yeah, that would be incorrect. Now let me show you what you should do. Alright, so we're going to try this again. All the cross pieces are back where they were before, but notice how this time I'm not going to be looking at these pieces in particular, as that was what we were doing wrong. Instead, I'm going to be looking for edge pieces and or corner pieces that have the same colors on them that would go together. So let me demonstrate that as slowly as possible. So in the last time I did this, I was watching this piece. My eyes should not be directed at this piece. As I already know what's going on with my cross solution, I'm able to solve this with my eyes closed, so with that logic, wouldn't really need to follow these pieces with my eyeballs. So instead, this piece again goes down. Right now, my attention should not be on this piece or this piece. It should be on either this or this or this. And the reason for that is because after we get done with our cross solution, the next step is F2L, and these pieces are going to be relevant to us. So green just went in. Again, I'm looking at this one and this one mostly, and then maybe this one. But then we input the red cross piece right here, and I'm keeping an eye on these two pieces as we do the last turn in our cross solution. And as we get here, I have prior knowledge of what this corner piece is, and I also have these two right in front of me. The strength of this is, of course, if we had this corner piece down here and we knew what it is, and we had this edge piece up here, then of course we would know that we could pair these together right away and we wouldn't have to think about it. And then if you've been implementing your blind solving practice, you would know how to pair these up and put them in as quickly as possible without looking at it. And then from there, just as we did with the cross solution just now, if you know how to put these two together and pair them up together and insert them without looking at them, you can then spend your time looking for other pieces, such as this one or this one. And all the while you're doing it, you don't have to just track these two. You can look at other things that become more apparent. But let me just show you what this would look like as we do this. So again, make sure that you're keeping your eyes open for this. It's very important. And we're just going to pair these up. And here is another thing I want you to notice. For blind solving practice, it's okay if you turn slowly, but it's better if you turn quickly. In look ahead practice, I very much advise that you do not turn quickly at all. In fact, if you just wanted to stop and look at the cube and not have any TPS going at all, turns per second, I would rather advise you to do that than to be turning quickly throughout this practice. Let me demonstrate that. So here we go, we're going to pair these two together, and I want you to take notice of anything that stands out to you while we do this. And I'm going to turn as slowly as possible to make points. So starting from here, we're just going to turn the U layer, of course utilizing our finger tricks. We just did a double flip there, and we're going to pair these two together. And the whole time we know how to do this just because our muscle memory and deduction skills are so good at this point from the other practice. So we put this over here, and already in my mind I'm tracking these two kind of, but there's still a lot more turning to happen, so I'm not only focusing on these two, I'm keeping my mind open. So we get here, I'm going to pair them together, and notice I see the other two pieces that correspond with these two. So already we have two potential pairings that we can do. As we pair these together, I'm really keeping track of these two at this moment in time, so I pair them together like this. And if you weren't turning slowly, you might have missed this, so I'm going to undo that for a second. Here are these two pieces, the orange and green, orange-green, they correspond with each other. So as we pair these two together again, they go here, and really I just want to highlight you should be tracking this one. So this one just goes here, but as you pair these two together right here, this one, this corner piece goes down here, and then this edge piece goes right here. And so the best way, if you don't know any finger tricks for this F2L case, is to just rotate the cube and then input this F2L pair. But while you do that, of course, you're going to remember that you have this corner piece down here to pair up with this one. But even right now, I'm still looking ahead to anything else that might pop up at me, because as things would turn out, these two aren't really the best pair to be going for, because we can just go ahead and look at this real quick. If we input this pair, then we know that this is a pair that we can solve, but it's not that great. So going back here, I took the pair back out, back up in the top layer here. There's something else that we can look for while this happens. So if you've been watching anything else happen so far, hopefully you've been keeping track of this edge piece. Earlier we had the corresponding corner piece up in the top layer as well, and to my knowledge that has not gone down into any of the D layer. So there's a strong possibility that it's this corner piece right here. And so if we input this pair, once again, we can keep this one in mind and see if this is the corresponding corner piece that goes with it. And if not, then we know that we have this pair to fall back on as a last resort. So red, green, I'm going to input this pair, and look at that. This one is the one that we're looking for. Now compare the two cases. We've got these two, and then we've got these two, corner piece and edge piece. It's just me, but out of these two cases, I would definitely go for this one. So when you're turning slowly and doing look ahead like this, keeping pieces in the back of your mind, it really opens up your options as to what you can plan and make happen throughout your solves. So we're not stopping here. Again, with the blind solving practice, it's hopefully made you at this point be able to solve this, just like we did with the last one, without having to look at these pieces. So we're going to do that without looking at these pieces, but again, we're going to be directing our attention elsewhere. So just by looking at what we have going on here so far, we know that we have this pair ready, as well as this one, but we're going to be going with this one first. And because we've decided to do this one first, we know that this pair is going to be going into this column where this one's corner piece is sitting right now currently. So we know that this one is going to be coming out of this layer and coming up into the top layer somewhere. And if not in the top layer, then it's going to go back down in here, because this is the only layer that's moving besides the U layer. But all that is to prepare us for the fact that we can probably pair these two up after we get done solving this one, which is the goal. So to the best of our ability, as we turn slowly, we're going to keep track of both these pieces, and we'll try to insert them as soon as we get done with this pair. So going as slowly as possible, I'm looking at this one and this one. now I see this going to the top layer. Now this one needs to come back here to pair in a good pairing with this one. And so far, we've seen that this is the edge piece we're still looking at, and then this is the corner piece we're still looking at. So, still going as slowly as possible. We've got this one paired up now, and we need to insert it back into this column back here. So still watching these two, I'm going to put this pair into the column back there. I'm just going to put it in like this, and then now I see that as we are about to complete this, this is going to also turn into a good pairing. So when we fix the cross piece like that, look on the back here, we have this ready to go. So hopefully you have come from my previous videos, because in episode 7 we go over a lot of this F2L deduction stuff. But just by knowing that we have this pairing right here that needs to go into this column, we can see here that this orange and blue corner piece does not correspond with this edge piece because it has the yellow on it. And there's really only one other option of where it could be. So it's not in this column and it's not in this column because we've already solved those. And this one has revealed to us that it's already a yellow on it, so it's not even relevant in the first place. So we can actually really quickly deduce that this is the corner piece that corresponds with this one, and we know that that will come up whenever we insert this pair, and this will remain in the top layer. All that knowledge makes it easier for us to track pieces and more so predict where they're going to end up while we solve this pair. So just by turning very slowly, we're going to keep all that in mind, and then see how this one comes up here while this edge piece goes down. So keep track of all that while you're solving this pair, and then once we get to this point, we can see that both of these have paired up like this. So you have this pair, but you should know that without looking at that side. So as soon as you get to that point and you finish that last move and you see this, then you can go right into the last part of F2L and solve this last pair into the back slot by pairing them up like this, and then opposite pairing, and then solving. And now at this point we're on to OLL and PLL, and there's not really a whole lot that we've covered so far that you can do with look-ahead practice on OLL and PLL, but there will be later on in the series, so make sure that you stay tuned to find out what you can do to enhance your look-ahead practice. Now I really want to take another moment to stress the importance of turning slowly throughout this practice. If turning as quickly as possible is something that you're in the habit of, I would really like to break you out of that habit. There's most likely a ton of missed opportunities in F2L especially where you're missing just because you're not taking the time to accurately look at the pieces in front of you and you're just tunnel visioning on one thing. Now at this point in the video I've already said everything I need to say about the practice itself, but I'm going to do one more example solve with an actual scramble so that way you can follow along with me from step 1 all the way to step 4 of PLL. So as we go into this example solve, always remember to keep your white side facing upwards and your green facing yourself while you put in this scramble to make sure that your cube looks exactly like mine. Once you put in that scramble, your cube should look exactly like mine. Alright, now we're going to start from step 1. Now as we have normally done in the past with these example solves, we would start on the white cross, but we've actually covered color mutuality on this channel, so you might actually be able to do other colors at this point. But for the sake of simplicity on this channel, we're just going to keep it pretty much white side, unless something just really good sticks out to us. It just so happens that there's actually a pretty decent cross solution to be made on white anyways. Remember, we want to always plan our cross solutions regardless of what kind of practice we're doing or if we're not practicing at all. So we just want to make sure that we take stock of all of our crosspiece edges and plan a cross solution that's 8 moves or less, as well as anything else that we can maybe take note of. So in this cross solution, we're going to take our orange and red edge pieces that are actually relative to each other and put them over top of their colors like this. And then of course blue is already in place, just needs an F turn, and then we can piggyback in this orange to its center cap piece while we do red halfway through. So if we can visualize that, these two go here, so that's 1 turn, then 2 turns. This is already going to be here, so we would just put in blue, so that's 3, then we would do this green next, so that's 4, 5, 6. So that is a 6 move cross. That works, and in blind solving practice we would close our eyes, but in this one we're going to open them, keep them open, and make sure that we're looking for important information that would help us. So even before starting out right now, I'm looking straight at this guy right here. I want to see if I can find his edge piece. Something else is kind of important that I can maybe point out here is that we know that back slots being filled are more important than front slots. So if there's ever a point in time where you can find an edge piece and a corner piece that would be able to pair and go into the back, especially if it's oriented correctly, that would be the most beneficial piece of information to keep track of while you're going through these solves. So with that in mind, let's go through this solve and see if we can take advantage of that information. Alright, so here we go. We're going to turn the top layer like this, and I'm still keeping track of this guy right here. So we put orange over top of this, and we don't need to check and see if that's orange because again, we should be able to solve this whole cross solution without looking at any of the pieces. Alright, so we can go ahead and put this down, and then now we need to put in the F move to put in this blue. So we put in that with the thumb like that, and as that goes in, look at what we have here. This is the corresponding edge piece that goes with this corner piece back here. So we've already got a potential pairing that can happen right after we get done with the cross. Now we need to piggyback this green in, so we'll do that. And here's something that I can show you right now. So as we put in this green back here, we could follow through with the rest of the cross solution and do this. But since we have this right in front of us, we can actually input a U layer move into our cross solution and move it out of the way, so that way we can then bring this cross piece back down. If we don't do that, however, look what happens. We bring this back down, and then we're going to have to bring it back up again anyway to pair these up, move them out of the way, and then basically have exactly what we had just a second ago, but with more turns. So this is just what we get for this example, but this works all the time, so make sure that you can take advantage of this tip whenever you can. So we'll move this out of the way, put this in, and then now we have a pair ready to go in. We can either sledgehammer this in, or we can just rotate and make it into a back slot, which is what I would rather do. But right before we do that, make sure that we're taking stock of all of our information. That's still a common factor between the blind solving practice and this practice, is that we want to make sure that we look at all of our pieces and deduce as much as we can, know exactly what we have in front of us, so that way we can take advantage of everything that we have available to us. So I'm looking at these two pieces right here. I'm going to keep track of them while I rotate and put this into the back slot. So that would look like this. I'm just going to turn, keep these two in the back of my mind, and then without looking at this one, I'm just going to put this into the back column back here. Notice how this one is here, and I know that because I was watching it, and I know that this one's about to come out. So right now I can see that these two are in a paired position, where whenever I insert this, like watch this, whenever it goes in, this is already ready to be inserted right now. It's already paired up and ready to go. But I don't want to be hasty. I don't want to just put it in. I want to make sure that I know what's going to happen next. So the next piece of information I could be getting right now is that I have the orange and green edge piece right here, and one of these two pieces is going to be going with this one. I know that because there's two oranges connected to two relevant white corner stickers. So by deduction, I know that one of them is going to have to be blue, and then the other one's going to have to be green on the side. So I want to take the time to do a quick deduction in my mind. I just go ahead and think, okay, if I turn this down like this, then this orange is going to match up with the orange side. Therefore, the other side has to match up with the color that's on this side of the center cap. We know that green is opposite from the blue, so it cannot be the blue on this side. It has to be the green. By the way, this is all covered in episode 7 of the series so far, so if you're confused about what I'm doing, refer back to that video. But that is super helpful right there to know that we have this pair that we can do right after we do this one. So we can go ahead and pair these two together like this, and then insert into the back. And then we knew that we were already going to get this, so we could go ahead and move into doing that immediately. But of course, right before we do that, we want to make sure that we, for one, know what we're going to do next, and two, there even might be another better option. So even though I'm going to be doing this pair next, I just wanted to highlight that if you had a better pair here, and you could see both of these pieces, and maybe they're already paired up, ready to go, you can think about doing those two first. But since we've already prepared this one in our look ahead, we want to make sure that we can just capitalize off right away if there's not something better. So we'll just keep track of these two pieces while we input this one. So remember to keep track of both of these as we input this without looking at it. So we're just going to start here. So this corner's back here. We pair these two up in the way that we know how. We make them into an opposite pairing. And then also notice that right now, this should be a paired pair back here. And you should know that without looking at it, because you're turning slow enough to see these kind of come together like that. So in a normal solve, I'm going to be turning a lot faster than this, but just because we're turning so slowly right now, I can tell that right as we put this in, this pair is going to be ready for me to just turn up this layer right here to then insert this column into position like this, and then finish the cube, or at least F2L. Then at this point we get to OLL, and again, we have not covered one look OLL yet, so we'll just do a two look. You don't need to do anything fancy with OLL just yet. Just do your two look, and then we get to PLL stage. But now as we get here, I get to showcase what we've learned in the previous video, which is becoming full PLL. So 2 videos ago, I went over how to recognize each of these PLL cases, but then last video, I taught algorithms for each of these cases. Remember, we're looking for headlights, bars, or bricks, and we don't have any of those. and so that would make this an EPROM. Now there is actually one piece of look ahead that we can do with PLO right now, and that is the AUT that comes at the end. Again, the AUT is the situational last turn that you would do after you complete the algorithm. Sometimes it would be completely solved at the end of the algorithm, but other times, such as this one, there's going to be 1 or 2 turns at the end. There is going to be 1 turn required at the end clockwise, and I know that because this block is on the side, and usually this, what I mean by block is these 3 blue pieces right here would normally have to sit over top of the blue side just by putting in the algorithm itself. So yep, knowing that we have that little turn at the end there will help us to complete the cube that much faster. So we'll go ahead and put in the algorithm that was mentioned in the last video. And then at this point, like I said, we had 1 counterclockwise turn that we had to do. So once we do that, then the cube is solved. And since we knew that we had to do that, then right after we come out of the algorithm, we can just go ahead and finish it off with that last little turn. So again, quickly, it would look like this. And there you have it, an example solve showcasing what we learned in this video, and as well as everything that we've learned up to this point. Congratulations, you have successfully made it to the end of this video with hopefully more knowledge than you're armed with when entering it. Hopefully you will start implementing this practice and you will start seeing practical results very quickly. In the next video we're going to be going over a concept called keyhole, and I have mentioned it on the channel before, but hopefully next video we're going to be able to look at it more closely. So make sure to prepare your minds for that. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning / afternoon / evening / night. I don't know when the frick you guys be watching these videos. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. Buddy. Say hi to the camera. Say it. He done locked himself in.